Morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Rich Clark, and for Throwback Thursday, to carry on the trio of crime in the future, I'm going to talk about this film from 1993 called Demolition Man. It was actually directed by Marco Brambilla, and it's actually one of the only films he directed. He actually was an art director. And it stars Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandrabullock, and Nigel Hawthorne. So the main idea of this is it stars Stallone is John Spartan, a risk-taking police officer who has a reputation for causing destruction while carrying out his work. After a failed attempt to rescue hostages from evil crime lord Simon Phoenix, they are both sentenced to be cryogenically frozen in 1996. So the actual film was done in 93, so it was actually obviously sort of weird in that respect. But cryogenics is the idea of people get frozen and then they're woken up in the future. So anyway, Phoenix is forward for a parole hearing in 2032, but escapes. Society in that time, in 2032, has changed. All violent crimes have seamlessly been eliminated. Unable to deal with a criminal as dangerous as Phoenix, the authorities awaken Spartan to help him capture him again.
Protect serve in place. 4 minutes, 15 seconds lapsed.
Maniac is imminent. Request advice.
With a firm tone of voice, demand Maniac lie down with hands behind back.
Simon Phoenix! Lie down with your hands behind your back.
What's this? 6 of you. Such nice, tidy uniforms.
Oh, I'm so scared. What, you guys don't have sarcasm anymore?
Maniac has responded with a scornful remark.
Approach and repeat ultimatum in an even firmer tone of voice. Add the words, or else.
Simon Phoenix! Lie down on the ground, or else.
Anti-graffiti activation program activated. Aborted. Human presence detected. Safety override code accepted.
Lucky number 7.
Oh! Okay. Olé!
We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence.
The story makes allusion to other works, including the dystopian novel Brave New World, because what they do is they fine you for any crimes, swearing, so forth, any feelings, and H.G. Wells' The Sleeper Awakes. So, as the plot, we were explaining that Simon Phoenix kidnaps a busload of hostages and takes refuge in an abandoned building. LAPD Sergeant John Spartan, nicknamed the Demolition Man, that's why it's called the Demolition Man. For the large amounts of collateral damage he often causes in apprehending suspects, mounts an unauthorised assault to capture Phoenix. Now obviously this was a play on this because the idea is all these 80s films was always about destruction, so it's actually kind of ridiculing the 80s in 1993 about the old 80s, how everything got destroyed to actually get the baddie. It's sort of, it's a play, it's kind of like a comedy of errors, but also an action film. It's very smart in that respect. So within that, he captures, mounts an unauthorised assault to capture Phoenix. When a thermal scan of the area reveals no ties to the sausages, he raises the building and confronts Phoenix and sets off explosions to destroy it. The hostages' corpses are later found in the rubble, and Phoenix claims that Spartan knew about them and attacked them anyway. Both men are sentenced to lengthy terms in the city's new California Cryo Penitentiary. Prison convicts are chronologically frozen, exposed to subliminal rehabilitation techniques. So the idea is when these are put in they actually are rehabilitated as criminals to actually then, if they are ever woken up, they won't have any crime tendencies. So in this, when it comes into the modern day, in the contemporary day of it, it's in 2032 in the city of San Angeles, a metropolis formed from the merger of Los Angeles, San Diego and Santa Barbara. It is a seemingly peaceful utopia designed and run by Dr. Raymond Cocteau. Now, the joke of that is Cocteau was obviously, it's actually a ridicule of Jean Cocteau, who was the actual had the ideal utopia, but actually was an opium user artist in France, and he obviously has some very unusual ideas. So it's kind of a play on that. Phoenix, who's Wesley Snipes' character, is foiled by a parole. He escapes from the cryo prison by saying a secret password without knowing he had learnt it. He subsequently murders his guards and the warden, making his way into the city, where he easily overpowers and kills several police officers who have never had to deal with violent crime. One of the things there's a scene in this which actually always made me why I never wanted to get a retina scan, is one of the things he wants to try and open the door, and he actually takes the eye out of someone and puts it in to be scanned. And that's what always has worried me, that if ever you had if anybody wanted to open your phone and they were a criminal, they wouldn't care about doing that, because this is, to me, is where the idea of fingerprints and eye retina scans. And it was quite a memorable idea. I mean, in 1993 when the film came out, and I remember watching it at the time. I went to the cinema with my dad to see it, and I thought that was quite interesting. And it was quite an imprint of why I'd still now, as a 42-year-old person, don't want to ever have retina scans. I don't believe in them. I think it's not a good thing. So anyway, once Lenina Huxley, who again is a play on Huxley, Aldous Huxley, and Lenina is the character in Brave New World, is an idealistic SAPD officer who's fascinated with the 20th century culture. So she has this nostalgia about what the old ways were. She learns about Spartan's career from veteran officer Zachary Lamb, who suggests their best chance to stop Phoenix by listening to someone with experience and a mindset needed to anticipate his actions. Huxley persuades the spirits to parole Spartan and reinstate him to active duty. Spartan finds life in San Andreas to be sterile and oppressive, since all types of behaviour are deemed immoral. And this is why I think this film's interesting, because it's like that things are immoral or unhealthy is contact sports, tobacco, dirty language, non-educational toys, and having sex has been declared illegal.
I'll give you a Marlboro.
Yes, of course, right away. What's a Marlboro?
Just a cigarette, any cigarette.
Smoking is not good for you. It has been deemed that anything not good for you is bad, hence illegal. Alcohol, caffeine, contact sports, meat.
Are you shitting me?
John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
What the hell is that?
John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit.
Bad language, chocolate, gasoline, uneducational toys, and anything spicy. Abortion is also illegal, but then again, so is pregnancy if you don't have a license.
Which is again based on the idea of Brave New World, which is the Huxley book from 1928. Also, if you want to see a modern day version of Brave New World, there's a TV series which I mention on my YouTube channel, and you can watch that on Peacock. So conversely, many members of the police department also generally view Spartan as a savage and uncivilized, while Huxley idolizes him. Anticipating that Phoenix will attempt to secure firearms, Spartan has Huxley lead him to the museum and finds Phoenix looting an exhibit of weapons.
Wars and urban disturbances of the 19th and 20th centuries.
Oh, shit.
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Yes! Now, this is what I'm talking about. How do you get in here? Hey, you gotta wait that 15-day waiting period? Or can I just, take one now? Oh, motherfucker!
You are fined.
So what, it needs batteries? What size? I mean, where the fuck do you find batteries in the future? Was a battery store around, motherfucker?
Excuse me, museum patron. Can I...
To Spartan's surprise, Phoenix is even deadlier than before. Phoenix escapes and holds Cocteau at gunpoint, but is unable to kill him, as Cocteau has altered his rehabilitation program to prevent him from doing so. Cocteau instead orders Phoenix to kill Edgar Friendly, the leader of the Scraps, a resistance society which lives in the suburban ruins of old Los Angeles, rather than conforming to Cocteau's moral ideals. So again, there's always this idea that there's always going to be revolution or an underground revolution. It's very much like in Zion, in the Matrix. They reject the mainstream narrative, and the same as this would happen in this film. Spartan and Huxley witness the exchange on the security cameras, and what they do is they start noticing things, and they actually find out that Phoenix's program has made him more dangerous because of Cocteau's programming, is including martial arts, computer hacking, brutal techniques, torture techniques, and murderous impulses. By contrast, Spartan's program taught him how to knit and sew, which is quite a funny little idea, because you've got Sly Stone was probably like Arnold Schwarzenegger, was the big, brutish, like 80s stars, and then he's like knitting a jumper and stuff. So again, it's like this play on ideas of how people, they sterilize this idea of people who are primal. It's actually kind of, a film is also talking about how they're going to how could be the potential of sterilizing the alpha male. And if you actually look at society now, we have that happening. If you think about it, we look at the way they do not like alpha males. They do not like the idea of that. They want to make everybody sort of non-gender, conformless, everything. So, but in a form of conformity. It's kind of strange. So anyway, with all this, Huxley and Spartan deduced that Friendly is being targeted for murder. Phoenix persuades Cocteau to release additional cryo prisoners, which Phoenix leads underground to assassinate Friendly. Having previously encountered the Scraps during a food raid at a restaurant, Spartan and Huxley venture underground. They thwart an attempt on Friendly lies by Phoenix, who reveals that he framed Spartan for the death of the 1996 hostages. They were already dead before the building exploded. After Phoenix escapes to the cryo prison, Spartan borrows weapons from the Scraps and pursues him. Unable to harm Cocteau, Phoenix has a minion kill him instead. He proceeds to thaw out the cryo prison's most dangerous convicts. After incapacitating Huxley for safety, Spartan confronts and battles Phoenix, whom he finally kills by freezing him solid with a vial of cryogen. Spartan himself barely escapes the uncontrolled quick freezing effect, which triggers an explosion that destroys the cryo prison. The police fear that the loss of Cocteau and the cryo prison will end society as they know it, but Spartan urges them and the Scraps to work together, combining the best aspects of order with personal freedom. So the idea in the end is that actually that you can't over-control people, and that you have to have some vices, because with everything what's overly good, you have to have bad as well to balance out the world. So actually the Demolition Man, as seen as a film that was done in 1993 as kind of like a throwaway film, kind of an art project, it actually has, as a film now, it has a lot more ideals which actually we are seeing implemented in society. So as an alternative future, it could happen in somewhere like LA, especially the way LA is going with its liberalism and so forth. But the trouble is with this film, I think what it does, it also is a scary force of actually that as much as people think liberalism works, it can actually work the other way and go into a form of fascism. And that's actually something we're seeing in our society now. So anyway, if you want me to talk about any other films, I've got a special on Blade Runner and the sequel next week. I'm going to be talking about TV series coming up as well to just variate it a bit more in the ones that have influenced me or part of my personality. I've also got my, I've done my top 50 albums. And I'm going to carry on with some albums which are not actually in order now, but they are actually just albums I like, which are going to carry on. So anyway, if you please could subscribe, so I can carry on making these videos and carrying out with more content. And if you are interested in any of my hypnotherapy services or any things about me talking on social media or societal ideas or cultural ideas, please contact me at www.richclark.net, and I hope to see you soon.